My name is Liscio Jr. I'm currently in the cast of Avenue Q at New World Stages. I toured with the show for a year and a half prior to being in this company, and I also directed the junior version at our high school. Well, I didn't start acting until I was a senior in high school. I was very much into sports up until then, but also I didn't quite take them too seriously. I was always sort of like a goofball, and I knew at some point I was going to get into theater. I just kind of had this like gut feeling that at some point I was going to do theater, and once I did it, that was going to be it. So I waited until I got too many concussions from playing sports, and they didn't allow me to play sports anymore in high school. So I went out for the senior play, and it was a comedy, which was right up my alley. And from that point on, I was just, well, this is it. This is what I want to do. And then I got to Les Mis, which was the summer program, and I really wanted to be in it, but I didn't really have any vocal training at that point. So what I did was every single day I would sit in my mom's car and I would listen to Stars, and I would just listen to how he made the sounds with his voice and try to copy what he did, and that's how I learned to sing. And I went in, and I really wanted to get Javert, but I was much more appropriate for Marius at the time. It dawned on me how different musicals were, because at that point all I had done were plays. At first it was just a help-out basis, and then I was thinking, I was like, you know, if I'm going to do this, I've got to go all the way. For me, everything I do full force. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it right. I mean, there are things that I wish we could have kept in, but I completely understand why they're taken out. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, you know, those of you who are watching, I don't know if you've seen Q before, but there is some pretty raunchy adult stuff in there that is probably best left out, if not for the children's sake, then for the parents' sake. So, I mean, I love the show as it is. You know, the one that we do every night, I think it's brilliant. But being that we did have to make adjustments, I thought that the writers and the creative team really did a good job of translating that to a younger audience, so that they can really take it in. Well, the first challenge was the puppetry. I wanted to make sure that they each had a good foundation of what they were doing, so that when they were on stage they weren't worried about what their puppet was doing, that they could really be in the role and at the same time perform puppetry really well. So that was my first thing, and I wanted to make sure that before we move forward with anything that they had some sort of foundation of puppetry. The reason I cast each of them in their roles is because they already had something that resembled the characters that they were playing. So it didn't take much for me to kind of be like, hey, well, you know how Rod is like this, have you ever been in a similar situation, or what about, you know, have you ever been like this? So you're trying to take the character or the puppet situation and translate it to their life, which wasn't too terribly difficult because they already had a lot of qualities that their puppet character had. In our production, there's video monitors that pop up every once in a while with you know, something on them, a scene, or, you know, just a little ditty, and we didn't have monitors at this production, so I had to come up with little things to do in place of that, which was fun and I think really translated well. In our company, we have one actor playing multiple puppet roles, but in the school edition we had one actor per puppet role. So we ended up having more kids. So there were certain times when everyone was on stage that I would have to reblock a whole scene because it involved more puppets, whereas in our company we would just have 2 puppets on each arm. Instead we have 2 people with 2 puppets. Even though that I do the show every night and I've seen multiple people come in and play each role and I've performed with multiple people, it's always cool to see how somebody takes on a role and adds their own individual essence to the role. And what was really great is all I had to do was really bring that out and let them show that to everybody, bring their own personal individual essence to the role, and it's awesome how that just kind of magically transforms into the character that they're playing, but you can see them shining through the character. So as I would watch them, I would see this happening, and I'd be like, that's really funny. Or I'd see some other stuff that they would just add in or improvise, and I'd be like, that's really smart, and that's really funny. And I would be like, I'm really, really impressed. I should take a note or two from these kids.